Yo,
It's Friday.
It's
how's it going?
Friday night.
Wow.
What's up, guys?
How are you? Yeah, I'm good. Good week. We act like we've not spoke.
Yeah, long time no see. About 17 seconds.
Feels like we've also just recently done this water cooler, like really recently.
Yeah,
Really recently, it was like
really recently.
really.
Let's see who's joining us. We got a lot of attendees or
Yeah, man. I
registered
think this is
attendees.
big. This is big. This is like 110 this
Really?
morning. I think that was
How
it's
come?
been a long time.
I cannot see anyone attending to something with you two.
Yeah.
It's
Well, it's not
obviously
only us two; it's the other two that are joining as well. So.
Hello, everyone.
Who's
Yes,
in
Welcome
the
to another
chat?
water
Let's
cooler.
get some lighters up in the chat. Give me some flags. Let me know where you're at.
Miroslav is here.
Yeah, I love this.
Yeah, it's one of those topics. So obviously we're going to talk about why it's so hard, or how to sell brand and brand strategy, and why it's so hard. But we hear it quite a bit, don't we? Is brand and brand strategy dead, guys?
Wow, that's an interesting.
Is that a bit too harsh?
Isn't it?
Oh, why are you starting like that? I thought we were going into the weekend, mate.
Well, let's see what everyone in the comments think. How many brand strategists have we got in on the call today?
I imagine quite a lot. Because every strategist that we know, including ourselves, finds this topic like
Hey, Joanna
really
from
interesting
Romania.
and really hard to do, and it's still an unsolved like mystery puzzle problem. So
Yeah,
I imagine everyone's got a theory, but no one's cracked it.
is that classic saying, brand has a branding issue, right? A highly unregulated market, everyone does what the fuck they want.
Yeah, definitely.
Business school does not teach branding school does not teach business. There are so much to untangle. I don't want to go too deep into it because we have two awesome guests that will explain that really, really well. But the problem, I think, the pain point,
Yeah.
the struggle for any strategist, because I think 80-90% of the people that reach out to me do not say I have a brand strategy problem.
No.
I have XYZ.
Yeah.
Right.
Pain point central,
Before we get into the conversation, though, because I think we already started digging
I mean,
in.
it's because it's exciting,
Yeah, I know. Let's start off with our usual thing, like anything. Even the people in the comments as well. Share something positive that's happened for you this week.
I've got a positive.
Go on then.
This is what these guys. So I don't really shout about my birthday much, but this is what these guys bought me for my birthday. For people that don't know me, next year I want Negronis like this. But this is 5 liters of Negroni. So let's see how long this lasts. But this
we
is
were going to send him a male stripper, but the stripper wasn't available. So
yeah. So plan B.
Yeah.
And as you can see, the three of us, we only do very useful gifts.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
5
so
liters
that was
of
it. So yeah, happy birthday, Wes.
Thank you.
You are 53, yeah?
Yeah. True word though, my mum actually corrected my age because I thought I was actually a year older. True story. She actually said, "You're actually not that." She said, "You're not actually that old, Wes. You're this age." And I was like, "Oh."
So you're going to tell us your age then?
No, I'm definitely not telling you.
So you're the same age as me then?
Yeah, maybe.
No,
you guys shouldn't go. You guys shouldn't go down that path because it never ends up well for you too.
But no, there's some other good things. I think my reflex video came out. It's quite nice and quite scary to watch yourself back. I think Martin did the same thing. Looking at the one-liners that you come out with and cringing in other moments, going, "Oh shit, why did I say that?" But it flowed. I popped a link on my LinkedIn if you want to watch it back.
Go watch it. Great talk.
My kids said it was ace, so I've got fans. And my head's been down really just working with a global agency on a Pfizer account. Really, I'm coming out the other side, so it's amazing working in medical. I must say, from a strategic and creative point of view, super rewarding. You just don't get to see the reward straight away. There's a lot of testing and theories involved, but yeah, man, that's my kind of highs of this week. What about you guys?
Yeah, busy working. Couple of strategy kicking off. We launched our accounting platform Balabook a couple of weeks ago, so there's a lot of work to be done in there. Yeah, really good stuff. Good week actually.
Yeah, same as I've done a few talks here to some remote ones, some big groups. You helped me with one of them as well, Wes, the NMDP one. I did one with Chief, and I'm almost finished writing my new course for LinkedIn as well, which is going to be. I can't say what the course title is, but it's going to be around storytelling for business, and yeah, it's going to be released in August, I think. So I'll confirm that. But yeah, a few people in the comment. Iona, I was in a call yesterday with Annalie Hansen and Chris Doe. Learned a lot. Yeah, obviously, you're going to learn a lot.
We had Chris Doe on the show as well, so you can go and check it out on YouTube. Really good. Annalie, she's a friend. We've been working and chatting together for a few years. You two also know Annalie, right? Out of Sweden. Yeah.
So let's get started because we got some two guests waiting in the green room.
Not one, two today. So it's like
not one, but two.
Five-way. How this is going to go down, I don't know. But let's just.
Yeah, like we will just shut up and less of us, more of them. It's always a good winning solution.
I don't know about
that. and this topic actually started from a conversation with one of the guests who wrote a Medium article, and we'll link it after the show. But it's a great read, but we want to unpack that as well today. So do you want to
yeah, man, like I'm super honored to bring these guys on. I'm really good friends with these guys. I've studied with these guys. I've traveled with these guys. Yeah, man, know them really well. I would class them as, you know, the people two people that I know really well that bridge business and brand together, which is why they're great at this topic. They're a great advocate for this subject. I'd like to call them Level C's very own Ren and Stimpy, because they are. One of the guys has his very own air freshener and merch, which I'm wearing right now. So I'd like to welcome to the cooler Sean Masters and Marc Gutman. Come on. There you go.
What an intro.
What's up, boys?
Come on, you're quiet.
Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you. That was, yes. Well, I think we're both just in shock at that intro. That was. I'm also quite perplexed. It doesn't sound like, even though it's an advanced nation, that the UK has birth records there, Wes. So how can you not know your own age? I mean, it's like on every document. I mean, it's just
no one knows where Wes is coming from. No one knows where Wes is coming from. We believe he's an alien. We believe he's just pollinated himself out of nature from the woods, but we don't know. But we're lucky to have him.
Yeah.
So however you came here.
Yeah, we're very happy. Very happy. Well, we're honored to be here, boys. Thank you very much.
So shall we dig straight into the topic then?
Yeah, man. Like it's massive. It's a beast. Like.
Selling
brand is just not a minuscule subject. It's got ripples, layers, onions, skins, whatever you want to call them. I think we need to go in hard.
So I started jokingly, saying is brand and brand strategy dead? And what I meant was, how are we talking about it too much? As in, are we talking about it the wrong way? What are your thoughts, guys?
Yeah, well, obviously, Ash, that's a big, broad question. And I think that all these people wouldn't be here today listening and taking time out of their Friday if there wasn't an issue, if there wasn't a challenge. You know, Sean and I talk about this topic a lot. We talk about it in private. We talk about it amongst ourselves because we're very curious as to what's happening, because this is how we make a living, right? And I think everyone else on this call is how they, make a living. I'm going to defer here to Sean in just a moment, but is it dead? That's a sensational way to perhaps talk about it. But is it in trouble? Is it on life support? I would dare say yeah, and we can get into it and unpack that a bit on this call. But one might even ask, was it ever even alive? And we can talk about that too. I mean, I think that the idea of brand and brand strategy in the way, at least that I used to perceive it, which was this beautiful idea of going out and helping, getting paid for my thinking and helping brands think differently and having them get a purpose and go out into the world and do all these things. In hindsight, back, and I'm like, well, did that even exist? So we can talk about that a little bit more. And Sean, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it as well.
Oh, Mark, you've said it so eloquently, though.
That's the book, I think.
Yeah, look, this all came about because the same question kept on being asked: is why is it so difficult to sell?
Mhm.
And what do we do about that? And no one ever really came up with an answer. So you know, we talked about what it meant. We talked about why, and we backed and forthed on lots of different things. And like you said, Wes, at the beginning, there's lots of layers to this.
Yeah.
I think that this is not a straightforward, that's the solution. And I don't even know if we have an answer. That's the other point.
So I think you started that article with defining what brand is, and I think that's a good place to start. And I know you see a lot of this content online, carousels, people talking about it, but they're all very different definitions, and that's kind of how you started the article. And I think it's important that we aligned on the definition, right, before we actually start selling it. But are we ever going to be aligned?
I don't think it matters, because it doesn't matter what we think. I mean, we have a view, right?
Yeah.
Brand depends on what you know and who you are, I think. And at one end of the spectrum, you'll have people like us who think it's this big thing, that it's an essential part of business. Yeah, and that it's a catalyst for driving revenue growth, and it's the glue that binds things together and all sorts of things like that. But at the other end of the spectrum, you have business leaders who buy this service who think it's a small part of marketing. So I don't think, you know, as the adage goes, it's not what we say it is, it's what they say it is. Or rather, it's what they say it isn't.
Yeah.
So it's just about that translation of how do we translate it.
Yeah, and sorry, Sean, I didn't mean to jump in there, but I'd like to hammer this point home, because many of us, and look, I think you know, Ash said that, hey, brand has this broad definition, it means different things to different people. Let's just assume, and just for the sake of argument, that the definition is what Sean just said it is. It's not what you say it is, it's what they say it is. Yet we've, in a short history lesson about 5 years ago, maybe 8 years ago, we were all pretty content delivering logos and brand identities and packages and copy and messaging frameworks. And that was it. We were stoked. That's what people wanted. And that's what we gave them. And then something happened. Something shifted where there was this movement, and I call it the golden age of brand, where we all started being like, you know what? And I think it was a lot because of like Adobe tools and competitive and globalization, that people could start to do that kind of stuff, right? It wasn't as special anymore. So we were getting commoditized. There was this big message, you know, you're a commodity. Anybody can do your thing. No one respects you. You want a seat at the table, blah, 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 right? So get paid for your thinking. And there was this like groundswell, this golden age of brand strategy, like get paid for your thinking. You know, you're going to not be a commodity anymore. You're going to sit at the table. It's going to be wonderful. So then we went out and we had all this self-importance, and we started thinking we're awesome, and we started telling everyone about brand strategy and how great it is and how they need it, and how it's going to change the world. And so we started telling everybody what we thought it was, but they still didn't think that, right? And so we literally created this definition. It's not what you say it is, it's what they say it is, yet we keep telling everybody what we think it is. And what we think it is isn't what it is to the people buying.
Yeah.
It's funny, isn't it? And it's so ironic that we push that message hard. You know, everything that we do to our clients, we say should be customer oriented or market oriented, not product, not sales. Yeah, we're kind of doing that. We're shouting or amplifying the message that what brand means to us, because it's so important to us, or how important design is, or something like that. Whereas, are we actually speaking to their problems? Are we speaking their language?
Well, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question, right? Where are the edges of brand? How does it look? What shape does it have?
Out this.
What do you get? What do you get? Let's role play. I'm the customer. Ash, you're asking me, hey, I want to sell you some brand. Awesome, Ash. What do I get?
Exactly.
Am I selling you brand?
Sure.
Well, what?
in this role play, sure, yeah. What do I get in this role play?
Okay, well, it depends on what your problems are. What problems are you seeing?
Well, now you just made this really hard, right? Like, you don't know what you give me. You're going to start to, solution sell me and try to reverse engineer what you have to my product. Like, what do I get, Ash?
Well, what I don't want to do is sell you something just for the sake of selling you. I would rather just walk away from this conversation if it's not going to help you. So this is why I need to ask these questions.
I don't know what my problem is, Ash. I need more business.
Go on, jumping, guys.
My business.
I was leaving him.
Yeah, right. My business is in the toilet, right? Like, or I'm feeling competitive pressure.
Yeah, but you could argue, Mark, like you could come back with something quite flippant and say, "I'll give you a clear pathway to success to help you make profit." Like,
can you guarantee that?
You could. I mean, and I think that quite frankly, that's kind of the. I'm not an expert on this, but I think there's probably like 5 canned responses that fit for every consultative business, right? Like, I'm going to get you more leads. I'm going to help you sell more. I'm going to give you clarity in your business. I'm going to help retain your employees, whatever that is, right? There's probably like 5 to 10 canned response. We can always do that. My point is, and Ash, thanks for playing. I was just giving you a hard time, but it's very difficult, right? And it's very, very difficult. And to express what do you get, and we do approach it in a very consultative, hey, like, where can I help you? I want to be of service, because it is so broad, right? And it literally is like going in and saying, I want to help you with your marketing, and someone's like, great, like what do I get, or how are you going to help? Like, you can't, you don't do everything as a marketing agency. I can help you with programmatic. I can help you with advertising. I can help with different things, but I think that people are very clear when they get really specific on the problems they solve and who they solve them for. And I think brand by default is pretty broad. Yeah. Right. And it covers a lot of different things. And even when we show like a typical brand process, or, I mean, you're covering like customer journey and competitive analysis and messaging and purpose and the DNA, and it's big, right? It's broad, and it's really hard to articulate what people get out.
But when you look out the service providers out there, you've got people that are doing customer experience design. You've got employer branding. You've got branding in a general sense. You've got designers. So all of these are different jigsaw pieces to the bigger puzzle. Where do you fit in? And that obviously speaks to something that we spoke about recently, like collaborating with people as well. So if I was to turn that conversation around, then Mark, how would you tackle that?
Asking how would I sell it, or how would I go out?
How would you sell it? Yeah, how would you go about selling it?
Yeah, well, my approach, and there's a couple things. I mean, I think, there's always the exception to the rule. And I think what you were talking about, you dropped some things like employer branding or personal brand. I think if you get really specific, it becomes a lot easier, right? We could start selling personal brand to real estate agents or something like that. That's really focused. You're solving a real problem for real estate agents. However, if you want to be broader on the topic and do more, I think that you really need to start to, I kind of lost my train of thought there. I just lost my train of thought, so I apologize on that. But what I was about to say.
No worry. I think going back to that, and usually the way that I approach it is that, like, most of the most common reason why a business fails, no matter the size, big or small, is because they miss the mark with the customer, right? To me, brand is that bridge that connects all that multitude of shit that happens straight to the customer, right? The most customer centricity element in business and in marketing and in building a brand, to me, is the brand, right? Finally being able to remove yourself from the equation and putting the customer in the center of everything that we do, right? Because it goes back to that definition of, like, you don't own the brand, they do. And to us it's so simple, but it's fascinating. And how many business people, even from a very senior point, they are focusing on the wrong thing, where the reason they exist is only one: the customer.
So I want to challenge that
Mm.
Yeah.
and say, I'm going to put my business man hat on, right? I'm a business
Yeah.
dude now. I'm going to say that the reason a business fails is because it runs out of cash.
Why does it run out of cash, though?
It could be a number of different reasons. It could be a supplier issue. It could be a cash flow problem. It could be geopolitical things that cause issues.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason I'm challenging it in this way is because I think this is the way that most business leaders think. They think about things that are absolute and quantifiable
Logicals.
and measurable.
Mm.
And we as professionals have a more humanistic language that we use, which we're using there, talking about people, talking about customers.
Mm.
And I think they find it difficult to grasp that because there are no guarantees. It's great to hear, and it's been proven lots of times, but will it work in this scenario for this business? And that's the challenge I think that we have. It's how do we change our language to fit what they understand?
Yeah.
100%, but even in the supply chain, there are no guarantees, right? Wars
course.
can happen, and climate can happen. Like anything can happen, right?
Yeah.
Like any strategy, business strategy, customer strategy, acquisition strategy, or like brand strategy, it's always a calculated assumption where things can go wrong or can go bad, right? But you're absolutely right, Sean. And like, to me, the originator of this conversation and why it's so hard is one, that business school does not speak brand, and brand school does not speak business in the most of the cases.
So
Right?
how
You
do
two
we?
are,
Sorry, really quickly. How do we then bridge that gap? So if we've
Well-
got two different languages going on,
yeah,
And I'll answer that. One of the things, Sean, where I lost my train of thought, where I was going with that is, I think we need to stop breaking out brand strategy as this like unique, special thing that is on its own and gives you something, because it doesn't, right? It's like, what does it lead to? And I think we've all talked about this in some previous learnings and classes, that, strategy without execution is meaningless.
Yeah.
yeah,
It means nothing. And so, but what is that execution? And so we were so quick to run away from that execution and say, I'm not an identity designer, I'm a strategist. That sort of then will give you your identity, or fill in the blank, right? There's a lot of different, things. I'm just using one example. And so I think that's one way we start to do that. We stop breaking out this strategy as this thing. It's just part of the process. It's part of the thing. If you look at, Wes is talking about how he's working at a really big agency right now. They have a strategy team. They have a strategy department. But what do? They don't live in a vacuum. They get an assignment, and what is their main purpose? It's to deliver a strategy so that everyone else can go execute on an advertisement or a revenue generating project. And as we keep breaking it out, it's not a separate thing. It's a thing. Strategy is this thing that gives us a runway, a roadmap towards our executables. But we really need to start working on that. And one thing I do often with clients, and I need to do a lot more with myself, is to get them to learn how to speak in their customers' languages. I'll do the same thing. I'll role play, and I'll say something like, let's pretend Sean's our customer, and I'll be like, hey, Sean, I was on the phone with my sister last night, and she has the exact same business as you do, the exact same problem as you do, and she was complaining about that problem. What'd she say to me?
well, I'd ask
And
you what
Sean's
the
going to
problem
say
was.
something. And Sean's going to say something like, oh, she needs a brand strategy, blah, blah. I'm like, no, that's not what she said.
Yeah.
Right. What did she say to me? And she probably said something like, I'm getting crushed at work because sales are down. I'm not generating enough leads. If we're lucky, she'll say something like, we're misperceived in the market, or people think we're something else and we're not. That's, they've figured out that job. So that's if we're lucky. But most businesses don't think that way. And that's not how they articulate the problem.
I think if you unpack this even more, though, like just my, if we start to describe this clusterfuck of chaos that's actually happening around us, right? It's you've got this change in narrative happening, right? We've got this misalignment of terms, misalignment of understanding. But there's also this other thing that's happening at the side of it, and you touched upon it at the start of the call. Like, I noticed during the pandemic, there was a surge of strategists. And all of a sudden, all these strategists are diluting each other because we're all not aligned. Like, there's people in our domain that would preach brand completely different to me or you or us, and so they're confusing the message even more. So we're detriment to ourselves, because there's strategists that have been in the game since 2008, probably like myself, and there's strategists that have been in it for 2 months that have got similar qualifications on paper, but are preaching the wrong fucking message. So the people we're trying to talk to are getting confused messages from the get-go. So not only you've got narrative, not only you've got like ill manner and ill behavior, because we all work in different ways. There's no true theory to how to deliver a strategy or a strategy workshop or a framework. And then you've got the other bit is this misalignment of education. And if we put that into campaign terms, if I was saying, right, we've got this great product and we need to market it, but nobody knows about it. So in marketing terms, in campaign terms, that's going to cost you sixfold, because we have to educate everyone first. So we're going to have to put loads of money into the education. And once that's landed, the product will tip and we'll make our revenue back. And if we put it in them terms, we're fucked, because we're all talking a different language. We're all trying to talk to an audience in a different way. They don't understand what we're fucking saying. And we're all like waving around credibilities and fucking ribbons and whatever, saying, yeah, but we're strategists, you need to listen to us. And there's this chaos of shit that's just happening around us. It's mad.
Can I add another layer to that as well? Which is that in our audience's minds, this is a nice to have rather than an essential business.
They see it as a way out, do they? You know.
So brand, like I say, brand is a nice to have, and you only really think about it when things are going well and you've got sustained growth, and that's when it goes on the agenda. If you're in a spiral of death, you're not talking about brand.
No, you're talking about lead sales, fucking keeping the lights on. Do you know what I mean?
So so there isn't that urgency, there isn't that tension necessarily. For a lot of businesses.
But like an example of what I'm talking about here is like Ian's great, good friend of mine, mentored him, knows his shit. But a statement he made earlier was like, what is it? A strong brand equals a strong company.
Mm-hmm.
But to a CEO, what's a strong brand? What does that mean?
Well, they're after cohesion, aren't they?
That's
they want cohesion in their workforce. They want productivity. They want everyone
breaking the silos.
Alignment.
Exactly.
Alignment, exactly. All these things brand can bring, absolutely, 100%. But they don't think of it in those terms.
No.
There are other ways of doing that. It's consultants, business consultants that can deliver that.
I was going to add to that.
To build up on that is that also most of the CEOs are short-term placement, right? 5 years, 6 years, some even less, right? So, and brand is actually long-term run, right? It takes quite a lot of time for brand to go into the flywheel effect, right? And get to those generative, I don't know, sales or metrics or how you want to call it. And CEOs has a board. They need to prove short-term gains. They need to prove their position, keep the chair under the rust. So they're looking for shorter-term metrics, which brand is not exactly that.
Exactly.
Yeah. How do you know you were successful in your brand? You can make up some metrics, right? You can say, hey, when we hit this metric, we're successful. But it's kind of like brushing your teeth.
Yeah.
Right, Martin? Like, I can tell you start brushing your teeth, and at some point you're going to have some good teeth. You're going to say, when? I'm like, I don't know. Just keep brushing your teeth.
Yeah.
Someday it's going to happen. But you got to trust me. And there's like this leap of faith, and you got to keep brushing. And brand's a lot like that. And, I'm going to get a little, like, you guys tell me what you think of this. I'm going to get a little nerdy, a little esoteric, right? Simon Sinek talks about this. I don't know if you've ever seen this talk about infinite games and finite games, right? And so business in general, as an idea, is an infinite game. There is no winning at business. You can't win. It's ongoing. Brand and the way we present it, and this is one of the challenge, strikes me as an infinite game. It's broad. Our simple brains can't handle what it is, can't handle what the metric is, what success is. When you look at advertising, when you look at campaigns, those are finite games. And we're able to understand those a lot better. We're able to take a strategy and say, hey, we're going to go out for a subset of time and budget, execute against that, see what comes back, track the ROI, dollar for dollar, and then repeat.
Yeah.
Right. And for me, this is kind of like a unformed thought, but this is the way I think about it a little bit. That's the answer to the question. Why is it so hard to sell? We're selling this infinite game, this broad thing that's really murky and doesn't have real tangible edges to it. Yeah. And that's really difficult both for us to sell and describe and tell people. And it's really hard for people to buy. And they literally are buying 99% of the time. You tell me, maybe I'm wrong.
No.
But they're buying 99% of the time on faith.
Yeah. It's like, putting it in layman's terms, it's I'm asking you to get in my car and I'm going to tell you we're going to go somewhere. But you're going to get in. Before I get in, you want to know how long it's going to take.
I'm not getting in your car.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's be fun.
I will get in your car if you have Marc's perfume inside.
Mate,
Definitely getting in.
Yeah. I was telling you on the pre-call. Smells like bubblegum. Smells like tropical scents. Smells like his armpits. Just right there.
But at least it's tangible.
It is physical. But back to my theory, like, you're not going to get in that car. The CEO ain't getting in the car. And, like, you don't know where he's going. You don't know what it's going to get. You don't know if he has to get out. You don't have to how many times he has to stop. He has no fucking idea. Or they have no idea. Like, and that's why it's fucking hard. Like, so then you're playing a convincing game. Like, or a faith game, as Marc said. Like, you're convincing. You have to build the trust. So here's how we can start kind of leaning into shit we can do. So you grow a relationship, you earn trust.
So I want to point some fingers here, but not individually, not personally, but as a whole, industry as a whole, right?
Look at me.
Does it come down to the communication? Like, are we communicating something just that is intangible and it's long term, and kind of stakeholders that you're speaking to aren't seeing those immediate returns to their problems?
So my take on this is that you've got to be looking for the problems, okay, and then being able to use the language of business to then explain to Martin's point earlier about the people element, because customers are
the important
bit, right? But you need to talk about people and the role that they play in the business success. So those might be your people, they might be stakeholders, they might be customers, right? But it's the role that they play, and that's the bit that we're focused on, is the role that they play and how we influence that. And it's, as professionals, then we can influence that behavior and then directly stimulate those all important things that business leaders are interested in, which is essentially the bottom line. So we can do that, but in order to do that, we need to understand what problem they have and what problem we're solving.
100%.
Yeah. And then
so look, so imagine this is an unbranded candle. This is a tequila candle. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I just invented the tequila candle. I'm really excited about it. I put my life savings in it. I'm a startup entrepreneur. Let's use startup as an example. I know there's different phases of business. My problem is I got to get it in business fucking fast because I'm hemorrhaging cash, to Sean's point.
Mm-hmm.
What do we sell that does that for me right now as a collective group?
What, as a product?
Or yeah. What? Do I need a purpose?
It just depends what it's made of. No, you don't. But you don't.
What do I need?
You need sales.
I need an identity. I need an identity and a website, and I need to do it fast. And it doesn't even have to be a good one. And so everyone on this call is probably gonna. Everyone's gonna hate me, right? Everyone's gonna hate me right now. You could go to 99 Designs. You could have your little nephew down the street give you a logo. You can slap it into Squarespace, and I can see if my idea is going to work.
Yeah.
I agree.
Right,
man. That's what you.
But that's a problem. To Sean's point, that is very clear as a business owner that I have. I got to get, and that's something that aligns with what we sell. Yeah. I think that where we start to get murky, and it starts to get weird, is up the chain into the strategy conversation. And again, what is the exact problem we're solving now? Everyone on this call is probably like, "Great, that's great. You're telling us stuff we already know. We know we have a problem. How do we actually do that?" I think from a marketing and a sales perspective, it's just getting really focused on what problem you solve and then re-engineering the strategy to solve that problem would be my answer to that.
100%. 100%. And going back to the candle, I think if you're selling a brand strategy for 10, 20K to this broke founder that needs to validate this product and has the product out there, you're a shit person.
Yeah.
Because that's not what he needs now.
Yeah.
No.
Definitely.
Right. And I think we need to take a few steps down the pedestal and understand actually where is our services the most needed, has the most impact, and has most of a beneficial investment for these people, right? We cannot force feed strategy to everyone, because to your point, Mark, absolutely, that guy needs a basic identity to validate his products, make a couple of bucks, and then go out there. And I'm okay to do his strategy in 5, 6, 10 years. I'm fine with that. He will be ready there, right? So he hit the ceiling, had some learning stories. Probably his business strategy is more solid than before. He has that side. And now I can help you engineer a plan to turn your vision into reality with a solid brand strategy.
Yeah.
So this is
100%. Yeah. Strategy. It's not for everyone, right? That's our tagline. I like it.
I think so. Yeah, I think.
Sean, what were you going to say?
I was going to say that this just brings in the different stages of a business's life, right?
Yes.
So from that startup through to scale up through to
Yes.
the maturity and so on. Right? There are different phases, and there are different aspects that we can bring to those phases. Yeah, that we can help. Well, we can help the candle guy. I'm not saying that we can't do any strategy for him. It's about, well, how do we get to market? Well, what is the right market? What is the right channels in which we can get you to market to get you the best return quickly? You might already know this, Mr. Candlemaker, but maybe you don't. So there is that. But then also at a later point when you've got more people on board and you've got to try and then drive innovation in the business, and you've got to drive productivity, that requires people to collaborate. And that requires a different type of strategy. That requires a different way of bringing people together. So, yeah, there are different routes in different.
And we've all got a theory, right? Like I said, like my peeves come from us as professionals not delivering strategy honestly and right. I genuinely believe that. Like I'm not a strategist that's a cop out. I want to stand arm in arm, toe to toe with my client, and I want to walk it. And I know there's some strategists out there that just want to cash cow it, and when it gets to a strategy document, they pass it off and they're gone, and they want to cash cow another one in, and that just detriments us all. That's my famous quote is like, I don't like birthing stillballs. Like I just don't. Like I want a brand that's going to live, and if we were all like that, then I think the theory of a strategy of a brand or a product would live longer and would be more creditable, because it'd have more success rate, it'd have more success stories, because we've got people that's willing to fucking stand and fight for it and keep it alive. And that's one angle where like we can all go at. The other one is terminology, like we've said. But I think for our listeners and for our own sake, like what are some little hacks that we've got that we could fucking start, just sowing this seed from now and trying to get some wins to people. What's our little hacks?
I think Mark touched on something there, and Sean also earlier touched on something there, and it's something that we use as well, guys, like in our process, and it comes from Roger Martin's winning aspiration. It's like, what is that end goal?
Yeah.
What is it you trying to achieve?
Yeah.
And what's stopping you from getting there, and how can we support you?
And without activation, that aspiration won't be met. So it just backs up exactly what I just said. If you're not in this game to help,
yeah, but that's you're right. So that's in the strategy, but also when you're onboarding or when you're speaking to a client,
of course,
like you will, like if they haven't got that figured out, then yeah, we can help you. If they have got that figured out, then it's like, what's the step before that? The penultimate step, or the steps before that? Like, how can we help you? How can we support you? And be honest, if you can't help them, then walk away from it.
Or Sean's got an
or
what's the bleeding neck problem that needs solving? If you've got someone an accident or a number of people in an accident, you don't go and help the person that's got a slight graze on their knee.
No.
You go and help the person that's got the bleeding neck.
Yeah.
So what is that bleeding neck problem? What's the thing that's causing you the greatest pain that can be worked upon in order to get you out the other side. So that's the opposite side to your what does winning look like for you. This is what's the problem we need solving now.
100%.
And I like what Wes said, and like if we were on a coaching call or something, like you were talking about, hey, I need people that are going to go in and fight in for this company. That's the problem. Like, hey, don't start selling all this other stuff. Like, I help people get their people totally aligned to fight for the business. Yeah. That's what you do. That's the problem you solve, and start talking to people that do that, right? And how do I do that? Great. I start with an onboarding strategy process, and we're going to do some other things, but like that's the problem you solve.
Yeah. Talking about the abs, not the abs machine, right? Talking about the feet in the sand, not the plane ticket to get to there, right? And that's absolutely right. On my personal experience, all my best projects were people that came to me realizing that they had a problem I can solve because of the content that I post. Those were my best conversation. Is a 12-minute sales call. They say everything right, and I said, "Great, let's start."
Yeah,
and I think positioning ourselves in a way that when the demand arises, we are the supply in their brains, right? We are the people that and that. All my best projects were like that. I didn't have to pitch. I didn't have to sell. I didn't have to explain. It was already done. They came to me when they had that. Awesome. All the rest, I'm still figuring out like everyone else.
That's because you're an amazing salesman, Martin.
Say again?
That's because you're an amazing salesman.
No, I don't know. I don't think so.
But I think that brings us back to where we started. Like, how do we sell this? Stop talking about brand. We stop talking about strategy. Like, those are words that are. And I'll bring up another great strategist who I love dearly, and I love his stuff, Mark Pollard. And he talks about, he used to call it monogamous words. I think now he's changed it to pineapple words, which I don't understand why. But, he says, if I say the word pineapple, everyone on this call, we close our eyes. We basically see the same thing.
Yeah.
It's a very clear word. We know what that is. If I say brand and we close our eyes and everyone starts typing in stuff in the chat, it's going to be like 900 different answers. If I say strategy, close your eyes.
It'd be a great test, wouldn't it? Like pop answers in the chat now. Like, what's brand? Simplify.
So you're saying it's a losing? You're saying it's a losing war, Mark? It makes no sense. Talk about it.
100%. It's confusing. Story, and so I'm known as the story guy, for better or for worse, and so is Ash. It's a tough word. Now it goes in and out of it, sort of what that means. And if I'm lucky, a client will come to me and say, I need to tell my story better.
Yeah.
But what they really mean is they've got no idea of their brand position, who they are, who they're for, all that kind of stuff. Right. But if I'm lucky, they'll come to me and say that. And my deliverable is basically you go through the whole strategy and I'll give them, just to show my work, about 70, slides of work and what we've done. But really, there's like 2 slides that matter. It's like, what's the position and your and who you're for and your differentiator and your reasons to believe and stuff like that. And then I'll just take that stuff and put it into a narrative. And that's what people really want. Like, they don't need all the other stuff. I just do all the other lead up in a presentation, because I used to go into a room and think I was Don Draper and be like, it's toasted. And they'd be like, that's great. How did you come to it's toasted? And so I would just have to justify it and use it as a sales problem. But really, they're only getting like 1 or 2 slides of meat at the end of the process. But none of them are saying, hey, I need a brand strategy. None of them are coming to me and saying, I need a strategy. No one's saying, hey, I need a better brand. I don't think they think in those terms. So like I said, if I'm lucky, they'll come and say, help me tell my story. Or they'll say, I need a new logo, and then we can have that conversation. Well, why do you think you need a new logo? And we can start to bring them around to a different way of thinking. But those are the types of problems I'm hearing.
I think when we're talking about like hacks, hacks isn't a good word because there's no hacks to this really. But but that when you just mentioned there, no one ever really comes to you and asks for a brand strategy, and so the clue's there, right? So what is it that they're coming to you for? Ask those questions.
Yeah, and I think Sean has a great exercise. Like, I think as a takeaway, is a value add to everyone on this call. Go, like, here's your call to action. Right, take a piece of paper, right, just a blank piece. At the top, write who's your customer, like who are you selling to, who, and then write what are their 5 like slit neck, gushing blood, arterial problems that they've got. Then write the 5 skin the knees so you don't make that mistake.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and be very clear on that. And I think that's how you do it. And then speak in that language and talk about that and talk about fixing that problem.
And to add to that, there's probably about 5 or 6 different ones that you can aim at. So it's either going to be a leads or sales problem. Yeah. That's usually what because that then, has a direct impact on cash flow. So that's an issue, and that's what most businesses are focused on. Or it could even be a leadership friction problem. Yeah, where people aren't aligned. Where you've got, I've had lots of
tons of those.
Yeah, those kind of experiences where you've got this, and they're not necessarily misaligned. They're just not even on the same page. They're completely different rooms.
Or confused. There are many ways can go, and I don't know exactly which one.
Exactly that. It could be a productivity issue. It could be about the customer's view of the business. That could be the problem. Competitors could be the one competitor in the market that's absolutely screwing you over. Could be the problem.
Yeah.
Or another one I see quite a lot is getting to that next level. Where you've built your business, you've got to a point, and there is a little tiny air gap between where you are now and where you need to be, and you can't get past it. That's a regular problem.
100%. I see that a lot, and I see that a lot with strong founders, that they have a strong network. So for a couple of years, they leveraged their network to create sales. So in a way, they didn't need to have an external perception and a positioning. And now that network kind of dried out, right? So they need to find another ways to build up. But I love what you guys are saying, and to build up on what Mark said. One of my favorite quotes, which I believe it was from Chris Do, is that like, if you're able to express and explain your client's problem better that they can articulate it themselves, they will believe that you have the solution to their problem.
That's great.
And goes back to speaking their language, speaking their vocabulary, goes back to brand and strategy, brand versus marketing, and all this kind of stuff. It's a communication gimmick and game that we as experts like to play, but the ultimate people they were trying to serve, they don't give a shit about it. They just want solution to their problems.
Yeah,
they want to fix.
Yeah, I love looking at adjacent industries and other things, and and Sean and I have talked about this. I don't know who's familiar with the coaching company EOS, the Entrepreneur Operating System, but I know a lot of people have done it. I've had it in my businesses before. They sell strategy and tactics, right? That's what they sell. But that's not their messaging. They don't talk about that. I don't think they've ever once said, "Hey, we send you business strategy," or we help you even, close the gap. What do they say? Man, as a founder, you are probably running ragged. The business is running you, and instead of you running the business, it's not what you thought it would be. And then they sell you a dream that you're going to be going off as a founder. You're going to build an amazing team, and as a founder, you're going to go off and you're going to be going to conferences and thinking innovatively and bringing back great ideas and doing what you're built to do as a founder. Now, it's a whole nother water cooler, because I think that's a bit of a false promise, but I think it's brilliant because it really just speaks to that founder, that decision maker, that person, what their problems are, and what they're going through. Now you get into their program, right? And it's a 3-year program of really some hard business strategy, coaching, and tactics, and you got to do the work. And it has nothing, it's just like basic, like, we got to work on our people, we got to work on our money, we got to work on our brand a little bit, we got to work on our marketing, that type of stuff. But they're not out there selling finance, marketing.
They're providing you an operating system as well, aren't they? So that's the other thing. They're providing you a solution. So if you follow this, if you do this, what we're saying here, over these 3 years, results will come.
Yeah, I love that.
And a way to measure it. Yeah.
I love that. And what you said about their messaging is all about empathy and visualization.
Yeah.
I understand you. I know what you're suffering, and I know where you want to be.
Yeah.
And here's how.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I have some ways of summing it up. So in my mentor sessions, I do this. So I think we've mentioned all 4 of these things that I give advice on, but repositioning yourself to try and be that that specialist because of the content and the things that you're putting out, right? The next one is about, I think we've said this, but this is how I frame it, like heal the pain, don't fix the brand. Right.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about pains, problems, frustrations, ask about their challenges, and let's dig in there, and then worry about fixing the brand in the long run. I think Mark touched on it then, but I always call it like help frame the end zone. So to your clients, frame what the end zone looks like, frame what everything looks like. Once we've done this, once we've worked on aligning your product to your customer, once we've aligned your business inside and out, frame that end zone. This is what success looks like. This is how it is. And then lastly, I call it being real. And I think we've all touched upon that. Be accountable, be honest, grow relationships. You know what I mean? And just have them trust you, because once they trust you, they'll get in the car. They'll get in the car with you and you're driving, right? And
no one's getting in your car, Wes. No
they
one.
are.
No.
They are. I think you've
That's
had to
not happening.
It's
No,
actually
not
much
your
better
lowrider.
than Ashes, because if you get in Ashes' car, you don't really know where you're going.
No, you don't know.
You never get there.
Kind
So
of,
I'll
That's
take
infinite.
Wes anytime.
That's an infinite right there. Fucking Ashes car.
sort of. You'll get somewhere.
Somewhere. Maybe extra.
You know,
Very nice,
I
but
tried to
it
wrap
was
that
not in the
up.
plan.
I tried to wrap that up in
I like that. I like that.
No, well
spirit,
done.
man. Yeah.
Thank you. I try my best. Thanks, guys.
And last but not least, be nice.
Yeah,
Just
be
like
nice.
Wes.
Yeah,
Yeah. Don't be a.
don't be a C unit.
Yeah, don't be next to.
You know, just don't. We don't get you anywhere.
So, guys, we're coming to the hour. Tell us what's going on in your world. Like what you guys up to. What you guys got coming up.
Anything?
Well, but before we get into that, real quick, I just like to put it out to the audience, and if you have thoughts on this, I mean, this is an ongoing sort of evolving kind of mushy conversation. We'd love, I don't normally speak for people, but I'll speak for Sean here because I know he feels the same. We'd love to hear, back what you think and what you're experiencing. And one of the things that I really just love about this profession is that it forces us to change, to evolve, to be relevant, because the world's changing and forcing us to evolve and be relevant. And so that's great. And so as we continue to have this conversation and share the information, that'd be fantastic. What am I working on? It's summertime. I'm trying to get through the summer, both personally and professionally, working with all sorts of tech and lifestyle clients at the moment, fighting for each and every one, just like you all. So it's not like it's an easy climate for me or anyone I know right now. But again, staying true to what we know and trying to remain relevant. Like some of you, I have some real AI concerns. It's not like fear. I don't worry about being displaced, but I worry about like how to continue to stay relevant in the conversation. Because what I'm seeing out there are more and more of my clients doing things in-house, trying to do it themselves, going to
it's happening.
It's huge.
Yeah, going to the internet and other resources first, before me being the first call. And so now I'm trying to I'm trying to eat my own dog food, as they say. I'm trying to do everything we just talked about on this call and really be thinking about what pains and problems I'm solving and continue to be relevant.
Amen.
Likewise, relevance is the watchword. I think. I've been on my brand journey for 6-7 years now, for when I first started, and I've seen, as we started at the beginning of the call, the landscape's changed, and it's continuing to change, and I'm also learning as I go as well. I'm learning that the brand process for me, half the challenge is that continuation, is helping the business and the business owners continue that journey of themselves.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't stop. You've got to keep going. You've got to keep evolving. So asking the difficult questions and being a bit more of a coach in this scenario. So whether it be starting with the coaching and then entering into the brand space, or whether it be the branding and then into coaching going ongoing, is something that I found that's been quite helpful. And it stopped some of those issues that I found where people just stop. They go, thanks very much. Thanks for the thing you've just given me. It's wonderful. I'm just going to open the drawer, put it in the drawer, close the drawer, lock the drawer, throw away the key, and continue with what I was doing before.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do those. I want to have more success in long-term development with these brands. So this is part of what I'm doing. Is I'm doing a lot more of that.
So, boys, have you got anything to ask us? We like to ask our guests to ask us a question.
Ash, Wes usually says, Ash hates this.
Ash does hate it.
So we've got to ask Ash
Gone.
a question.
Yeah, he left. Yeah.
Ash. So what questions can we ask of Ash?
Anything.
Well, what are
Friday.
you guys most excited about right now? What's whether it's personal or business, like what's got you guys fired up?
AI. No, only kidding.
I don't know, man. Like, my head's down. I don't know what is excitable at the minute. Like, there's a lot of negatives in the world. I think we just gotta be real with each other, man. We just gotta support each other and like win through others, man. I think that's the way to do it. It's just how we do it is the problem. I don't know about you boys.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's always the same. Helping people, really getting them out of a complex place and into a simpler place, and efficiency, I think, and simplification. I'm trying every single time to be more efficient and simpler, and also help them also take this approach. And what you said, Mark, like what I love about this job, and it's constantly changing. I get bored very easily, and I've been doing this for 15 years, and I haven't get bored one single day.
It's because you've got us in your life.
I get excited about collaboration. I honestly do. Because because I almost feel like there's been times where I felt like I don't want to do this anymore. I want to do other stuff. And then you start collaborating with people that think like you and don't think like you, but they're in that same zone. And that gets me excited.
Yeah, I think that's where the positive challenges come from. Like when you meet somebody new and you've got a vibe and you've got chemistry and you want to work together, you naturally form an alignment, right? If you're going to make this work.
So when you guys get to that, you let me know, yeah? When you've got that chemistry.
I mean, I'm seeing you a week on Friday, so we'll definitely get to that at that point.
Yeah. You guys love your jobs too much. I was going to say I'm trying to work on a 360 on the wake surfer. That's what I'm trying to do.
I'm surprised you're not at the beach house, bro. You're late.
Yeah, every time I see your Facebook updates, you in a different place of the world.
Yeah.
Well, that's my lie, pretend life.
Yeah, I want to be you when I grow up, Mark.
I don't put anything bad on Facebook. So
was it your birthday recently, Mark?
It was, yeah.
Oh,
about mid-June. And I knew how old I was, by the way.
Yeah, most people do though. That's the thing.
Yeah, it says it right in my passport, Wes.
Right. Well, thanks a lot, guys. It's been really good, this conversation. Best place to follow you guys, LinkedIn?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm pretty easy to find at Marc Gutman most places. If you want to follow my personal life on Instagram, it's Guttyville. That's where everything is great. Welcome to Guttyville, and just thank you for having us. This was such a great time.
I want a soundtrack for that, Mark. I want a soundtrack.
It sounds like a video game, right?
I don't know. So welcome to Miami by Will Smith came into my.
So you two, I'm going to put you back in the green room.
Basically,
the grapes and whatever you guys do in behind the scenes, and but feel free to leave as well because we're just going to wrap up now.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks to everyone for spending their time with us.
Love you, boys.
Really appreciate it. Thank you to everyone listening.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I don't think we got a solid answer, but we had an amalgamation of
5 tips. Yeah. 5 bullet points.
Definitely got some good nuggets there, and at least it'll get people thinking a little bit differently, right? We've actually got a private chat. Mark's not left the green room. The green room. He said, "We gave you an effing answer." That should be good enough.
Yeah.
But anyway, guys, thanks so much. Enjoy your weekend, and don't
be naughty. Don't be naughty.
Or if you're going to be naughty, don't tell anyone. That's mine.
Don't tell anyone. Yeah. Don't televise your naughtiness.
Yourself.